Hello, my three people, and welcome back to the A-Pex podcast. This is episode 16, and yeah, 16th episode. We don't have our co-host here again, sadly, but we do have a few things that we will be talking about. Unfortunately, we might get through them a little bit quicker than usual, so this might end up being a little bit of a shorter episode, but we're going to try to make the most of it. We're going to start off with a little bit of the lesser interesting things and get into the greater interesting things. So yeah. Well, without further ado, let's try to get into our first few topics here. And there's actually one... Okay, so we have... The first topic we have is something that's pretty interesting. So I ended up coming across a little bit of an article from Dexerto a little bit ago mentioning about a feature from Fortnite. I'm assuming you all know what Fortnite is. And there's a feature that players in the A-Pex community want to be added into that game, and that is being able to carry your teammates to kind of bring them over to like a different area so you can revive them. Like, you kind of get the point. You pick up your teammates who are down, you can go and pick them up, revive them somewhere else. That's basically kind of what it is. And personally, I kind of like the idea. Since, like, it can be so frustrating sometimes with, like, trying to get to a down teammate somewhere else and whatever. But a lot of people are actually considering adding this, because this was actually a suggestion on Reddit, and it got a lot of upvotes. I don't know the exact number. I thought I saw 13,000. I don't know. But I think that would be an interesting feature to add in the game. And I think it would be kind of beneficial. Like, it would... There was a... I don't know about how the devs would want that to be in the game or not. But I can totally vouch for it. It seems interesting. It seems cool. And yeah. Since Heshi is our only audience member right now, I want to know what his thoughts about this are. So, Heshi, would you like to give your thoughts about maybe at the addition of a carry feature in Apex Legends for down teammates? Okay, it is nice, but like, rip-off moment. Yeah, it is a rip-off moment. Not to mention how, like, there's already been a lot of rip-offs. Well, I don't know if Apex Legends has really ripped anything off, but the Encore map does seem a little bit like a Call of Duty map. To be honest, Fortnite ripped a lot from Apex. I mean, yeah, like there was the banner cards, which was also a thing, the ping system, and yeah. And what else were there? Oh, the respawn beacons, I think, were also a thing. That was still in loot vaults. Like we have loot vaults on World's Edge, and kind of Olympus with like the ship POI, and what else? Kind of with the big mod, I guess, on World's Edge. Yeah. A lot of Battle Royale games have these features, probably. Yeah, I think... I don't know. I don't know how many carry features there are in Battle Royale. Colors just called Hashi a ripoff. Nice. Okay. Well, anyways, it would be an interesting feature to add. And I don't think it would be a bad addition at all. I would actually find that really interesting. Maybe they could, if Respawn didn't like want that to be like a set feature, maybe they could add like a support legend in the future that can do that, carry teammates to a different location and revive them easily. So that would be really cool. Well, now let's try to get into our next little smaller topic here, and this is about a little bit of a glitch or kind of a bug. I don't know if it's necessarily a bug, but it is something that's kind of pissed some people off, and it is that there's been a little thing with like the big mod town takeover on World's Edge. Like, okay, so you know how you can like craft the weapons and such that have the Rampart special built into them. So people craft those with like 100 crafting materials, and excuse me, still coughing a little bit, and there is a little thing that happens like when teammates steal them from you. And I think that's been kind of pissing some people off. So I think the devs are looking into it, I'm pretty sure. And it seems like that they might try to make it so like only the person that crafted the weapon or bought the weapon can take it. I don't really know. But I personally think that would be a good feature to have, especially when like teammates can already steal like a bunch of stuff from you already. So yeah, I think that would be nice, and maybe they could do the same with the crafting stations while they're at it, because like I don't know many teammates that would go and steal stuff that you've crafted at crafting stations, but personally I think that would be a nice feature to add, to be honest. And yeah, for the big mod town takeover, I think that feature will be pretty nice to add. Again, I don't remember if it was a bug or if it's just because of like how like crafting materials operate and whatever. But yeah, that's gonna be heavily appreciated, and I want to know what Heshi's thoughts are about that. So how about you give me your thoughts in the live chat if you wish to. Okay, so Heshi's starting off with so. We also have 2 people in the live chat who are not listening to the podcast. That's pretty sad. Yes, Heshi thinks that'll be a nice feature. I agree, it's going to be nice. That teammates can't steal it. Yes. Like, again, I don't know many teammates that will steal from, like, crafting stations or whatever. But if that ever is the case for anybody else, yeah, it's going to be a nice feature. But it would be negative if you don't need it. Oh, yeah. That's the one little gray area that comes with that. Like, I mean, you can always just, like, drop something and then do it that way, but that's a little bit of extra work. So that part, like, that's also something you got to take into consideration, really. But it would be nice. Yeah. Is there anything? So Heshi's still typing, so let's see what else he's got to say about it. Also, maybe while he's typing, maybe let me know your thoughts in the comment section about the Rampart Town Takeover. I don't know, or maybe give me your thoughts about this little idea about, like, making it so teammates can't take the stuff you've crafted. Maybe give me stuff like, give me your thoughts about that in the comment section. That'd be really cool. I would think that the person that crafts it can only pick up first, and after like a minute the teammates can use it or pick it up. Yes, that was the other thing I was thinking about. Maybe just add like a little timer on there to make it so, so the person who crafted it, they were away from it for a while, so now you can pick it up. So yeah, that would be good, and that's the one way to counter it. So I agree with that. So you can work around like teammates not able to pick it up for a certain amount of time, but it's pretty easy to just pick something up. So maybe 30 seconds instead of 1 minute. But it's fine either way, personally. I don't think there's much of a problem with that. Still a nice feature. Now let's get into another topic, which is bigger than the other two we've just talked about, but it's going to be pretty impactful, and it actually might upset some people who really enjoy this weapon, and that is the possibility of the R301 going into the care package in Season 11. Now, Alpha Intel on Twitter, it's an A-Pex Legends news source, they actually mentioned something about, like, I think, what weapons would you want to see in the care package next season, and a dev actually responded saying R301, and then put in quotations, mutes mentions. And I don't know about that. I don't know how to feel about that personally, because I love the R301, like, using it, and whatever. So, we don't know if this is a joke, or if they're trolling, or if they're teasing the R301 going in the care package. We know there was a similar thing that did happen with, like, the Spitfire, with, like, one of the devs posting a picture of the cat with something, I forgot. But we did kind of get a teaser before that the Spitfire would go in the care package, and it seems like there might be a similar thing happening with the R301. But we don't really know. Once again, we don't know if the dev is trolling or if they're actually being serious. But if this is serious, I'm going to be disappointed, because the R301 is, again, one of my favorite weapons. It's probably the most versatile weapon in the game, and probably the best if you think about it. I don't know if you can necessarily call it the best, but it is for sure a really decent weapon. I really like the R301 again, and I think a lot of people like the R301 because it's just a solid weapon that you can use in a lot of different circumstances. And the fact, like, if it does go in the care package, I feel like, it'll upset some people. Like, it's so weird to kind of think about it, because it's always just been that reliable weapon you could use and whatever. But it would definitely, like, kind of open an avenue for, like, a different meta, which would for sure be really interesting. Like, there is going to be a weapon that kind of takes a spot. I would probably assume the Volt, since, like, it can kind of be compared to the R301 in the circumstances. Like, it's versatile, it can be used at a little bit of different ranges, but I don't know. There's also the Flatline, though, which has always been a competitor of the R301, and would probably be more likely than the Volt to take its spot, as it can also be used at a decent distance and whatever. But the Flatline does have, like, a different feel to it, because it does have a little bit more of a recoil than the R301 does. R301 also has, like, the one of the most easiest recoils in the game, to be honest. And it's just a beaming machine. It's got a good DPS as well. Like, there's not much that can go wrong with the R301. It's perfect. The flatline is also a perfect weapon, really strong. I don't know if it's just as perfect as the R301, but the flatline is awesome. It's one of my favorites. And I think that in the Volt would replace the R301 in terms of, like, I don't know. So that would be really interesting. I will be disappointed if the R301 goes in the care package, but it's going to be the devs' way of, like, testing around the meta a little bit to see, like, different avenues, I guess. They have stated before that they want to add a different sort of flavor to each season when it comes to the weapon meta. So yeah, that will be really interesting. The weapon meta it's interesting right now. So I think it's going to be a lot more interesting with the R301, the care package. And I can picture it. I don't know if, like, I don't know what type of buff they would bring to it. Obviously, it would have Anvil Receiver come with it if it were to go in the care package. And I kind of think its stats as of now are really strong. But maybe they'll increase the fire rate a tad bit if it goes in the care package. I don't know about amping the damage a little bit, but I don't know. It's probably going to be similar to what it already is on the ground. And then it's going to go into the care package like really strong. And I want to hear Heshi's thoughts about this, since he's the only one in the audience right now. And while he's typing, if he is typing, maybe give me your thoughts about the R301 in the care pack in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts about it going to the care package, and maybe just, I don't know, just let me know your thoughts about it. And is the R301 your favorite weapon? Let me know. Okay, so Heshi's starting off with, well, the care package. Is that like the random spawning package? Yes, it is. That you can get high tier loot and the weapons like the Kraber, the Triple Take, and the Spitfire, and the Alternator. I drew a blank there for a little bit. That would be bad. I think it's bad in the sense that, like, people are gonna be pissed, and the R301 is just that one solid weapon. But I don't know, like, how crazily it will affect, like, the meta and such. It's really weird. Since it wouldn't become the map, like, people would less use it. Yeah, of course. People aren't going to really use as much. Like, if it's really powerful as a care package weapon, then people will for sure use it decently. But, like, it just depends on how it's going to work as a care package. Like, the Triple Take, I wouldn't say it's the weakest care package weapon by any means. Like, it's really strong, but I feel like people use it less, to be honest, than how they would have been using it on, like, ground loot or whatever. Like, I feel like they really gotta, like, do some stuff with the ammo capacity and maybe something with the damage or the fire rate, and that would definitely make it a little more higher tier. But it improves the gameplay. Like, people would probably use different metas instead. Yeah, exactly. People are gonna be using different weapons and try to work around, like, a new sort of meta, which will be really interesting and an interesting change of pace. Like, yeah. That's pretty much what will be happening, like, if the R301 did go into the care package. So yeah, R301 has the possibility of going into the care package next season. Be sure to give your thoughts about that in the comment section. Would like to know what you guys think about this. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Or do you think it's just a troll? No. There's something else I kind of wanted to talk about before we moved on to the next topic, which is going to be a pretty big topic. Some pretty hype topic. But first, let's kind of... I think there was a little bit of a bug fix for something that involved the Halloween event and, like, obtaining items in it. I think it was just a bug fix, though. But while we're on that topic, people are pretty much really upset about this whole thing going on with the new Halloween event in terms of, like, how stuff is being monetized. And I can really get behind it, honestly. Like, you would be spending about $160 on freaking A-Pex packs that are thematic event packs, and you're not getting anything, like, big at the end of it, like an heirloom, and you're not able to get the skins that you want because you just gotta buy packs and whatever and hope you get it. And yeah, people are actually, like, trying to boycott this event and have made, like, some boycott thing, and it is really crazy. And yeah, just like this event has poor monetization, honestly. Like I said before, like, you're better off just waiting until, like, all the stuff just is well, the stuff already is, like, in the loot pool already. But like that's like I would say over time, like if you get enough like crafting materials and whatever, then or if like maybe one day it has like a recolor and rotation, then you can go ahead buy it with legend tokens and like oh actually no, you can't buy it with legend tokens. Shoot. I am absolutely stupid. So yeah, I think the only way you'd go about it is if you were to just save up your crafting materials and just kind of wait it out for a little bit. Do a little well, but again, I don't know. Like this monetization thing is just so crazy, so stupid. Like, but I don't know what the fix was because I haven't really been paying attention to a whole lot of Apex stuff and its issues. For like, well, I have been, but I forget stuff easily. So there was some fix. I don't know if it was a bug or if it was something that involved like how you purchase the skins. Like, I hope that they're gonna add in some feature like to buy the skins separately, individually, without needing packs or whatever. But the whole monetization thing is pretty crazy, honestly. And I hope they don't do something similar like this again. If they are going to do something similar like this again, then once again, go the route of just making it so you can buy the stuff separately from the packs or whatever from the event. Or maybe add like some sort of like bundle or whatever at the end that you can earn after getting all the packs or whatever. Or just not having like 40 event items, like maybe cut that in half, like to 20 or 25 or something less than that, because it would make it a lot cheaper and a little more accessible, to be honest. But I don't know, like EA has their business practices and such, and you can't really stop it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in terms of that. But now let's get into the most hype thing that has just been announced, and that is a brand new story from the Outlands that is announced for Apex Legends. And it's going to be premiering in about 2 days at, I think it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. Hold on, I need to do a little bit conversion here. 9, 10, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, actually. It's going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, once again, on October 18th, that time. A new story is from the Outlands. And it is seemingly going to be for Ash, who has been speculated to be the Season 11 legend for quite some time now. And looking at this thumbnail, there is someone that has blue eyes. And as I can recall clearly, Ashley Reed, who is the human version of Ash, has blue eyes. So this seems really interesting, and it seems really cool. It's always hype whenever we get like a new trailer for like a Swords in the Outlands or a new gameplay trailer or a new launch trailer. It's always so hype, and it brings in something really cool for the next season. So I like how it's already been released. And the one, not released yet, announced. But the one thing that I find really interesting is that they haven't like titled this story from the Outlands. I'm guessing they're not going to give us the name of it until when it goes live, but I just found that really interesting. And there's also a little bit of a wait trailer teaser thing that's like about 10 seconds, like when you click on the video, and it's just of someone's eye. I don't know, but there's some technology stuff going on with it. So so yeah, it's pretty cool. And there was also something on Instagram that I saw that's a little bit of a teaser that shows a brain, which I'm assuming is going to have something to do with simulacrums. And guess who's a simulacrum? Ash. And Ash has been, again, speculated to be the next upcoming legend. And I find this really cool. And also, something that's worth mentioning is that on Twitter there have been some lore comics coming out about Horizon trying to find out who exactly Ash is, I guess. Ash, I'm not on words today. So yeah, Horizon was trying to like wake up Ash per se, because she found out that Ash has like the codes for some sort of codes that involve Olympus or whatever. And Horizon basically became convinced that Ash is Lillian Peck, who I'm pretty sure is the one who was someone that Ash, or not, who's someone who Horizon worked with. I'm getting my words mixed up again, sorry. And yeah, Lillian Peck was also the one responsible for like designing Olympus, if I can remember. So yeah, that's gonna seem really cool and really interesting. And yes, Horizon thought that Ash was Lillian Peck, and Horizon went to go see Revenant about like stuff about simulacrums and like I guess about how to wake them up or whatever, if I can remember correctly. And Revenant was against that, so he tried to stop Horizon from doing that. But when Horizon went to see Ash to try to wake her up with like certain codes. Like for simulacrums, like you need to say certain phrases or whatever in order to make them remember. Like Revenant, like there was a malfunction in his system because he got stabbed with a glass shard, so that's why he woke up. But the situation is different from a lot of the simulacrums. Like after that, like you would have to say some sort of phrase again in order to wake them up, and that would be the case with Ash. So Horizon found out like what she had to say in order to make Ash remember who she was, and she did do that. Revenant tried to stop it, and he ended up kind of crushing Ash's head with his fist. He didn't kill her or anything, but I don't think he tried crushing her head actually. I think he just tried to push her out of the way or whatever, so like she wouldn't hear the phrases, so she wouldn't get messed up. Because Revenant, when he found out he was a simulacrum, he became psychotic and went to go after Hammond or whatever. So Revenant, I think, was kind of afraid of the same thing kind of happening with Ash. And yeah, but that didn't stop anything, because Ash then found out who she was, Dr. Ashley Reed. And Horizon then found out that Ash is not Lillian Peck. And the comic kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger. So I think Horizon now realizes that Ash is actually Ashley Reed, who is the one who cut her, the one who almost killed her by making her ship go into a black hole. And Horizon got stuck in that black hole for like hundreds of years, and then came back. And yeah, it's a pretty crazy story, to be honest. And this is seeming like it might be like the Legend teasers that would usually be out on like social media before a new Stories from the Outlands drops, and it actually seems like that is the case, as of course we have a new Stories from the Outlands coming that's seemingly about Ash. Once again, they've really been making it seem like that Ash will be the next Legend in the lore. Of course they could throw a curveball and it could be somebody else, but I think it's safe to say that Ash is most likely going to be the next Legend. Once again, it's going to be really crazy. And now I kind of want to speculate what this story from the Outlands is going to include, and I have a little bit of theories. My first little speculation on what this might include is, like, maybe it could leave off from what happened in the comics with, like, Horizon and Revenant and Ash. Like, it could be leaving off from there, like when Horizon says the words that make Ash remember who she was, and there's just a whole lot of events that go on, like flashbacks and whatever, like with Ash remembering like her past stuff. That would be really interesting personally. It might just be a little bit of a story thing, maybe like something that we got for the season 10 Stories from the Outlands, but not animation wise, but in terms of like the little bit of backstory on Ash. That would be really interesting as well. But I think it's going to be the first thing. Like, it's going to probably leave off from the comic, and we'll get to see like Ash's memories or whatever. That'd be really cool. And there's obviously going to be a lot of Ash lore in that trailer from what it seems, and I'm excited for it. We're probably going to learn a little more about Simulacrum Ash and whatever, maybe learn about some more stuff about Simulacrums as well. And I am really excited for this Stories from the Outlands. It seems really mysterious, and it seems like it's something that you're going to be really drawn into. And in sense, like, Ash has always been like really hyped as a character and is a Titanfall fan favorite. Like, this is obviously going to be probably one of the biggest stories from the Outlands yet, and it's going to draw on a lot of Titanfall people, and it's just going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy, and I'm really excited to find out what season 11 is going to be called. We do know that the next map is going to be called Storm Point, which is a tropical map, and there actually is a teaser for it that went live showing one of the pictures, and there are going to be some other picture teasers showing up in that's in the escape pod, by the way. That was the one that Bangalore is able to interact with in some way with a voice line. So yeah, that's going to be really cool as well. So I'm guessing maybe the season name might have something that might have something to do with storms, or makes you think of a storm theme. Season 11 Stormfront? I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for this next season. It's going to be really big. Like, there might not be a new weapon next season, but we are getting a Titanfall-related legend and a tropical map, which seems really cool. And the reason why we're going to Storm Point, as it seems, that's also the confirmed name, as from a leak that I've seen. Bangalore is going to have some audio log that's a part of, like, the computer whatever that's inside the drop pod. And she's going to say something about Storm Point Gaia. So Storm Point is the name of the map, and it will be on the planet Gaia, which is Caustic, Crypto, and Rampart's home planet. And maybe it could be Ash's home planet as well, seeing as how Horizon, her home planet, was Samathi on Olympus. Maybe Ash's home planet is Gaia. But Ash was on the planet Samathi as well in Olympus, so I'm guessing that's not going to be true. But just a little speculation. There's still a lot we don't know about Ash in terms of her lore. But there is quite a bit we know about her so far and who exactly she was. So yeah, this next story from the Outlands, it's looking cool. And I want to know about Bubblets, or Bubble Tea. I don't know. Bubblet. I want to hear what Bubblet's thoughts are about this, if he can give his thoughts. And while he types, if he does end up typing, let me know what your thoughts about this next story from the Outlands are. Do you think it's for Ash? Do you think it's for someone else and there's going to be a curveball? Or whatever. Just give me your thoughts about it. Like, I want to know. Okay, it doesn't seem like Bubblet is wanting to say anything about the next trailer, so yeah, we'll kind of move on a little bit from this situation. Well, we're going to kind of dwell a little bit deeper on this topic by kind of speculating what Ash's abilities are going to be. Now, I've already went over what I thought her abilities are going to be, but I kind of want to get a solid picture for what her abilities are going to be like now. Of course, we know what the ultimate seems to be, Phase Breach, which will allow her to create some sort of portal with a dash. She'll be able to dash and create some sort of short distance portal that can go through walls most likely, or any other solid objects. Should be crazy. I would picture that's what it's going to be to make it a little more unique from Wraith's ultimate. And I don't think it's going to really impact Wraith negatively. I think they'll be able to coexist as legends because both have are seemingly having a little different playstyles. I think Wraith is a little more of a supportive character and for repositioning and such, and Ash is probably going to be more of a combat based legend, seeing as how her portal will probably be used more for pushes instead of simply just quick escapes or whatever. So I think that's going to be cool. So once again, we have the ultimate, which seems to be Phase Breach, and then the tactical is seemingly an ability called Marked for Death, which will allow her to throw down some device that creates a small area of effect that will in that area of effect, damage will either be boosted or it will make enemies taking more damage. I'm guessing it's going to be enemies taking more damage because Marked for Death. Does that sound like something for damaging and boosted? No, it doesn't. So I think that's going to be enemies taking more damage when they're in that area of effect. It would make the most sense. Now, people pointed out that Marked for Death was actually an old ability that Revenant had, which allowed him to throw a dagger that would, and if it hit an enemy, it would reveal their location for a certain amount of time or until their health returned to full. So that's really just insane. So that's obviously not what the ability is going to be. It's going to be probably one of the two things that I mentioned, an area of effect, most likely an area of effect where you take in more damage. I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. I don't know if enemies will be highlighted in that area, but who knows. I did remember that from the Insider Leak that showed Ash's ultimate, her tactical icon was the same icon as Watson's fence icon, so I'm guessing it's going to be maybe an electrical field that makes you take in more damage. I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. Excuse me. Now let's get on to the mysterious part of her kit, which is the passive. We don't know what the passive is going to be, really. But there is something that I've noticed that I think will be her passive, or will most likely be her passive, and that is the sword that Ash has. We've seen it pop up a little bit. First, in the Season 6 comic, she had the sword. You also know that Ash had a Ronin Titan, and Ronins have swords. And in the Pathfinder Quest trailer that was released a while ago, Ash had a sword. Her human self, she had the sword. And in the last part of the comic that was released on Twitter, Ash had the sword. So is it possible that Ash's sword is going to be a part of her kit as an ability? I would think that would be really convenient and would be pretty interesting. How it would work, basically. And there were also animations for her sword in the game files that were back in Season 7. So I think it would make sense, personally, to see her have her sword as a passive ability. It would basically work as whenever you swap to melee, you'll be able to equip it, and maybe it'll give you some sort of advantage when it comes to melee, such as faster melee attacks that do more damage, maybe you have a further lunge. That's what I see. It apparently also has an ADS animation, so maybe it is a little more of a distanced melee attack, which seems really cool. I'm thinking that's going to be her passive ability, but I could be wrong. It could be her heirloom, which would be sweet as well. But who knows? We don't really know what her passive ability is going to be. That's just my speculation, my thoughts, and kind of what I would think. They've been really showing off the sword, so I think that that's going to be the passive ability. Or who knows? Maybe the sword will be the tactical. Like, throw the sword and it creates an electrical arrow effect that makes enemies taking more damage. Like, that could be a thing. But I don't know. I think it's going to be some sort of sphere thing, because from what I saw, or from the leak that I saw, it's going to be some sort of sphere that gets deployed on the ground and creates that area of effect. So I think that's what it's going to be, and probably not, or some sort of other disc-like device. The Chuck E. Cheese's carpet. But anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts on what Ash's abilities are going to be. I know I've went over this several times, but I just thought we could try to get the clear picture for what her abilities are going to be. And also, the Ash teaser for her glitching into her human form, that's live as of now. Like, I don't think it's to the point where you could see her human self yet, but that is happening as of now. A lot of teasing in the lore, and a new story from the Outlands that's going to be really hype, really exciting. And yeah, that's going to be really cool. And we have actually pretty much blown through this episode without any co-hosting, without much of an audience, so that was really cool. Now, before I end off this episode, I kind of want to explain the situation right now in terms of myself. So, as probably some of you who view my channel have realized, I haven't really been posting like throughout this entire week. Usually I post a few more videos than what I post besides the podcast, but this week I've just been kind of taking a break. I've been a little burnt out from making a lot of videos. Like, there hasn't been much racing through my mind about what to make. So that's pretty much why I kind of had some type of break in terms of posting videos. So yeah, and I feel like I've just been busy with like school and such, and it's wearing me down and burning me out from doing content. I'm not going to stop, obviously. We're going to continue to grind, post some epic videos. Well, not necessarily epic videos, but post some good videos as well. This is going to be uploaded, of course. Podcast will always be on Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're not going to stop doing the podcast, obviously. We're going to keep posting them. I'm actually kind of, though I am kind of considering maybe taking, doing it every other week instead of every week, since there's sometimes not really much to talk about. But I think doing it consistently is good, even with, such little topics, because, again, we can dwell further on that. Like, we can have topic suggestions or whatever. And, yeah. But even though, we are still able to blow through the podcast and do really well talking about topics, giving our thoughts and such, we haven't had our co-host for, the past couple of episodes. And I remember on the 13th episode, our co-host had to leave early. So I'm really also on the lookout for a substitute co-host. So if you are somebody who, can really carry a conversation well, good communicator, isn't afraid to kind of speak up a little bit and think of some really good topics, good thinker, and again, has a lot of stuff to talk about, that's appropriate for the podcast, of course. Maybe get in touch with me. I have Discord, you can come on, DM me, saying, I'm interested in being a substitute co-host. You'd be a backup co-host, of course, in case if one of them can't make it. Or you can even try to DM me on Instagram as well, because I also have an Instagram too. So yeah, if you are interested in wanting to become a backup co-host for the podcast, and once again, you're good at carrying a conversation, good at thinking about topics, whatever, and are a little bit outgoing, be sure to get in touch with me. And this also kind of leads me into the next thing I want to talk about, and that's special guests. I really want to try and get some special guests on the podcast sometime soon, because once again, we're kind of at a small stalemate right now with the co-host not really being able to do the podcast. So if you're a smaller content creator, an aspiring content creator, heck, maybe any other aspiring career or whatever, maybe you're an aspiring author or an aspiring singer, songwriter, come on, hit me up. We can get you on the podcast to become a special guest. We can do a little bit of an interview, which would be really cool. And again, I've mentioned this also a couple of other times on the podcast about topic expansion. I don't just want to talk about Apex Legends all the time, because once again, we don't always have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with Apex Legends. So just anyone who can think of any other topics, whatever, and that would also be a way of introducing a topic expansion on the podcast, talking about many other different things. That's a good avenue to go about doing this, in my opinion, and especially how I really want to grow the podcast. Like, this is something I want to do for quite a long time. A really long time. I don't know how long, but a really long time. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah. Excuse me. So, yeah, once again, I kind of want to get out this stalemate for the podcast. So, if you're interested in being a backup co-host or whatever, then hit me up. Interested in being a special guest, hit me up. And, yeah, let's make this podcast a lot more fun. And also, I need more of an audience. As you can see, we only have one person in the audience currently. So, it would be really cool. Like, if you're interested in watching the podcast or more listening to it live, then be sure to join the Discord server. The link will be posted in the description. And, yeah, join in if you're free on 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. Then you can come in and join in the podcast. We can make it a fun time. We can interact a little bit and think of some cool topics to talk about. Try to go a little bit in depth on some stuff. Like, I really want to make this a cool experience, really fun, and grow it. So, yeah, that's all I've wanted to talk about. In terms of that, there's nothing too critical going on. That's the only critical thing. And yeah, with that out of the way, now we're going to end the podcast here, sadly. But yeah, we don't have much to talk about now. So we talked about quite a bit. We talked about the carrying down teammate change that people want in Apex Legends, and we also talked a little bit about what were the other stuff we talked about. I am drawing a little bit of a mind blank here. What was it? Let me go back in the chat a little bit. Oh yeah, we also talked about the big mod issue in terms of teammates stealing the weapons you crafted, and we also talked about the possibility of R301 going into the care package. Oh my god. And we also kind of briefly talked about the monetization with the new Halloween event, and then we talked a lot about Ash and the story from the Outlands that's going to be coming up. And yeah, we got some pretty hype stuff. And again, we talked about just a little situation with the podcast and whatever in terms of my YouTube content, whatever. So, yeah, that's going to be all for episode 16 of the Triple Apex podcast. We actually went quite a while despite like not having the co-host and not having too much to talk about at first. But yeah, I was able to make it work, which was really surprising. And yeah, once again, that's going to be all for episode 16 of the Triple Apex podcast. To my YouTube audience, if you did enjoy, then be sure to give it a like. And if you're brand new here to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you can get notified for whenever I upload a new video and a new podcast episode. And be sure to join the Discord server as well. Yeah, be sure to join the Discord server as well. It'll be in the description. And once again, if you want to listen to the podcast live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays, then be sure to join the Discord server. Again, link is in the description. Also, if you have Guild and you're looking for any servers to join on there, I have a Guild server, so yeah, you can go ahead and join that as well. Link is also in the description with the Discord server. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/3lnex and follow my Instagram as well at 3lnex.gg. Yeah, once again, that's all for episode 16 of the Triple Apex podcast. A surprisingly alright one. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.